This video is brought to you by the Professional Photographers of America. Join a community of over 35,000 photographers and find equipment insurance, education, and business tools made for small business owners like us. You can watch tutorials here on YouTube all day, and you should. You can even read books about lighting and photography, some of which I've written. But the only real way to level up your skills is by actually getting out there and shooting. That's why today I'm going to walk you through exactly how to set up test shoots with models for free. That way you can get the practice that you need to grow and improve your skills and build the kind of work that you want to be known for. Welcome back everyone. Today's video is all about something that every photographer needs to do, but not enough people talk about. And that's how to approach models for unpaid test shoots and how to make sure those collaborations are worth your time. This is something I do all of the time. When I want to try out a new lighting setup, perfect an old one, or create new content for my portfolio or social media, I don't just wait around for paid clients. I schedule test shoots, and I'm very upfront with the models that it's not a paid gig. It's a practice session, but it's still a professional one. Test shoots are one of the few ways we have to level up as photographers, because here's the truth. If you're not out there shooting, you're probably not improving. Watching videos like this is great, I hope it is, but experience is what actually sharpens your instincts. That includes shooting, editing, and even getting feedback from others on your work. So today I'm going to walk you through the way that I find models, reach out, set expectations, and deliver polished results without wasting time or dealing with any awkward misunderstandings. And you want to hang around to the very end because I'm going to share with you how practicing changed the trajectory of my life and really helped me improve my skills. So the first thing I want to talk about is a TFP shoot. Now you've probably heard this phrase. It's from the 1900s and it stands for time for prints, meaning you're going to give me your time, I'm going to give you prints or photos. It's a very common thing in our profession and probably doesn't make sense in a digital world, but just know that we're asking someone to pose for us and we're going to give them photos. It's not about free work, it's about skill building and collaboration. And I'm very upfront about it being unpaid. I will say the phrase unpaid test shoot right away in the first message. And I do this to avoid confusion about who's getting paid. 30% of the time, they think they should be paid. And 10% of the time, what I meant to say is, it used to be before I was very direct and clear about this, that 30% of the time they thought that they should get paid, and 10% of the time they thought I was trying to hustle them in order to get them to pay me. So I just keep things very clear from the front, but I'll go into what to say in the messages a little bit later. You want to find models though on websites like Instagram or apps like Instagram. I will search on there for hashtags that are germane to my location. So in Chicago, where I'm located, I'm going to look up Chicago model. But if you're in Atlanta, you might look up ATL models. Or if you're in New York, you're probably going to use the word NYC in your hashtag in order to find talent in your area. Then you want to save them or bookmark them for later, just in case you have an idea and their look fits that idea. And then I will reach out and contact people who match the idea and my creative vision. But before we get into what to say when you reach out to them, I have a little news to share. I recently traveled to Quito, Ecuador, where I had the honor of representing the United States in the 2025 World Photographic Cup. If you haven't heard of it, the WPC is an international photography competition where nearly 50 countries submit their best images and individual photographers compete to be the best in their category. Then collectively, the countries compete for the overall World Photographic Cup. Long story short, Team USA won the cup this year, and I couldn't be more proud. On top of that, my image was named Best in the Nation, the highest scoring photo from the United States. And I took home the silver medal in the reportage photojournalism category. So look out for that medal to probably appear somewhere back here in the background in the near future. If representing Team USA is something that excites you, It all starts with being a member of the Professional Photographers of America. In order to be considered, you can enter the monthly Merit Image Review or the annual International Photographic Competition, which are exclusive to members. WPC is one of the best opportunities to get your work out there on the global stage. But PPA isn't just about competition. Your membership also includes equipment insurance, ongoing education, business resources, and a supportive community of fellow photographers that will help you on your journey. So if you're looking to grow your business and your skills and possibly compete on the world stage, click the link in the description below to join PPA and get $25 off your full PPA membership. Now, when it comes time to reach out to the models, what you should say in your DM should be very clear, concise, and professional. I will say something like, are you interested in doing an unpaid test shoot sometime? I like to perfect old ideas, try out new ones, and create content for social media. That way they know right away that they're not getting paid, and they also know right away that you're going to create these images in order to post it. Now, if you reach out to some people and they don't get back to you, it's fine. Don't take it personally. Just know that I do that. People don't respond to me, and it's just part of the process. You just have to get out there and contact people. Now, when I do set up a test shoot day, I will schedule 2 people about 3 hours apart. That way, if one of them cancels, it doesn't ruin the entire day, and I'm still able to try out that idea that I want to work on. I'll also communicate with the models what they should bring in a mood board. And a mood board is simply just a collage that's there to explain an idea. That could be about art direction or hair and makeup, or it could be about clothing. So I'm going to share with them a mood board that shows the clothing that I think they might bring in order to in order to complete the shoot. Now, if I plan on doing 3 looks, I'm probably going to ask them to bring 5. That way they'll mix and match. Now, don't be surprised if someday they don't listen to you and they show up with nothing. So you might have a few outfits on hand just in case, or make sure that you communicate to them a couple of times that you're really relying on them to bring things. Now, you could be working with a stylist, and if that's the case, work it out with them. But that is something that you should consider. Now, after the shoot, I go through my retouching, and I make sure that I give them 1 to 2 images per look. I usually choose this, but I might let them pick from narrowed down options. And that's because I have a lot of trouble sometimes getting my shoots that are maybe 300 to 600 images down below around 30. I get torn. And if you're one of my friends, you've probably received a little film strip with 4 options from one look, and I've asked you to vote on them. And then what I end up doing is I compile all those votes, and I go with the images that get the highest votes. And I might ask the model to participate in that process. But I'm a little cautious about that because sometimes I don't know if they're going to be overly difficult, so I kind of avoid it sometimes, but that's something that you might do. When I actually do the retouching though, I try to keep the edits fairly realistic and mostly just remove blemishes and polish things up, and not go too far by doing a lot of skin smoothing and frequency separation and all of those things. Now, I've gotten a little lax with that over time, but I try to keep things more natural, because when these people that I'm working with do apply to be models at agencies, they normally want them to look more photorealistic, closer to how they look in person. Then they want them to be over retouched. So that's something to think about. But if your idea and your vision and your work is heavily post-processed, then do you, by all means. Now, on every shoot, I use a model release. And I just want to be clear that I'm not giving you legal advice here. I'm just giving you some ideas about things that I'm going to look for in a model release, or I'm going to put in my model release kind of as principles. If you want examples of real model releases, you could look them up on PPA's website if you are a PPA member. That is a great resource for you. What I like to include though in mine is I like to just use plain English And I like to make it clear that both parties are going to be able to use the photos in all ways possible to promote themselves, and they're going to be able to give the photos to third parties like agents in order to promote the photographer or the model. And I also say that we're going to try to tag each other on social media because, more networking is better. And I also include in there that either party can ask the other one to untag themselves in the future if they want to. I also have something that the photos will not be used for stock photo use. I wasn't going to do that anyway, but modeling agencies tend to want a phrase like that. And I make it very clear that the modeling agencies can use the photos, but I don't include them in the process very much, and more on that a little bit later. But just to wrap things up about model releases, these are things that I think about and look for. But if you want a real model release, look at PPA's website and consult a local attorney to make sure that you are covered for the work that you're doing in the area where you're located. The next thing I want to talk about, though, is working with modeling agencies. I mentioned it a little bit here and there. I do not reach out to modeling agencies because when I have in the past, they try to control everything. They try to dictate everything that I'm doing in every part of the process. So if you end up coming in contact with an agent and they're telling you what to do, or they're telling you they want to look at all the photos and select the finals, and you cannot use any of the images that they don't select, I would just walk away. It's really important that you get to choose the work that's out there because it represents you and your creative vision. And that's why I try almost all the time to work directly with models through social media, and I don't reach out to modeling agencies. So to wrap things up, I really want to encourage you to get out there and practice, because practicing is the best way that we have to get better. When I started out with lighting in 1999, I got my first lights, and I was working as a photojournalist at the time, and my skills shot up right away. But I didn't use my lights or shoot portraits of people unless I was getting paid. So for the next 8 or so years, my work kind of stagnated. Then my friend asked me to teach him lighting because he wanted to be a fashion photographer, and we went out the very first night, and he was the photographer and I was the model. And eventually we ended up finding people who wanted to have their photos taken. But he ended up coming to me after a while and said, all this technical stuff that you want to teach me, I don't really want to do that. I just want to feel the pictures. And I want to move to, that's what he said. And I want to move to Paris to find myself. Well, unfortunately, that was the end of our relationship together because, as you know, photography is all about technical stuff. It's really important. Yes, art and feeling are important, but we need to marry the technical with the emotional in order to get a really good image. So you can't have one without the other. Unfortunately, that was the end of our relationship, but I learned that I really loved working with models, and so I sort of found myself. I didn't have to go to Paris, and I kept working with models over the next few years, and my skills really improved, and I got a lot better, and I absolutely loved it. Then I kind of fell off the wagon there in the middle of the 2010s because I was focused on learning lighting for video, but then I got on Instagram and my skills went up and up and up and up. So my skills would not have improved over time if it wasn't for practice. I would have just went up and I would have just went along like this for the rest of my career. And so that's why I would really, really encourage you to get out there and practice so that you can build your skill level along the way and get better. You can watch all of the tutorials that I make on YouTube. I encourage you to watch them, in fact. But I also encourage you to get the camera in your hand, find a model, and go out there and practice so that you can build your skills and hopefully build your business along the way. And that's why I make these videos, because I really want to help you get better and grow your skills. Another way, though, you can grow your skills and your business is to join PPA, our sponsor today. So make sure to check out the link in the description to get a special discount on your PPA membership. If you have any questions or comments about working with models or best practices or how to do a test shoot or anything, just reach out in the comments. I try to respond to almost all the comments that I get here on YouTube and on Instagram when someone's asking me a question. I hope that you have a wonderful day. Consider maybe attending one of my in-person workshops or joining my online members-only learning platform, the Academy with John Gress. Remember to like, subscribe, sign up for the bell, share this video with a friend, and I will talk to you soon.